Okay, everybody, it's with a bit of, I guess, sadness, maybe. We are at Sketch 100, and this is the one that I have marked as the finale. I thought of all these ideas of like big things I wanted to try to do for this one, but the more I thought about it, the more I felt like, forget it. Let's just carry on, business as usual. It has been a fun run, and honestly, I may pick this back up or just start a new series at some point. But if I do pick this back up, it's going to be with some new major rules, probably using just mainly focusing in on a ton of other things, like stuff from the library, which on these VST plugins and contact various, libraries there, and all kinds of, other avenues that we have to explore. And it's been great to sort of hone in on just the built-in effects, see how far we can take that, which goes to show you can do kind of an endless amount of weird sound design and fun, crazy, weird sounds with just what comes with Ableton, which is great. But I think that is, we've hit the plateau, of course, and, never the top. I don't think there is such a thing as the top. It's just one plateau to the next. Life is just a series of plateaus. So, I think we've made it pretty far on this one. So cool. It's going to be time to reinvent a new wheel for the next phase of this, whenever that will happen. My plan is take a long, hard, solid vacation from this particular project, and then, when I feel like it, pick it back up and do something, bigger, better, more interesting. So we'll see what happens when we get there. This sketch series has, at least for me, been a massive learning experience, developing some of the crazy auto hotkey stuff to help really speed along some of the automation stuff. And especially, this rolling the dice template. If we can find that. Yes, this thing right here, the random jumping off point, has been a massive help. Something that I'm going to be using now in my own just personal project stuff, music. I do love this methodology, and it's fun to let the laws of fate just we've had some really fun and surprising combinations of stuff here. It's always a good time. So let's see, roll again. All right, we get 2 instruments. I think for beats, this will be interesting. All right, roll again. Let's hope we get a wild card, because then I can just get off easy and choose the drum synth. Well, okay, sampler isn't bad, not too bad. Of course, use pre-made instrument rack. Okay. Well, let's see. We'll figure that one out in a bit. Sampler, yeah. Let's get one of those going in here. Effects choices 4. Well, at least we got some options there. Echo, nice and easy. It's always great to use the echo effect to do some like beat stuttering type stuff, as we've done many times before. Spectral time is another good one that lends itself well to that sort of Grisha Lichtenberg style of spectral warping on beats. Filter delay. That one again. Let's see. I guess we did not add that as a filter, so got to drill into this, I think, kind of convoluted set of folders here and bust out our filter delay. All right, one more, be a good one. We already have echo amp. All right, well, not my first choice for beats, but we'll deviate from all this eventually anyway. 161 sounds perfect for beats. We'll just do 162. Key of G, we're going to skip that one for now because we are doing beats, so we don't really need a key per se. All right. Yes, beats. Our samples folder, not really conducive. Now, of course, this digital sign, and I guess the simpler also is, more or less a sampler. So I'm going to go ahead and include that in. Rules are made to be busted, as we have done so many times here. All right, so this one we can easily turn into a kick, I think. Let's just give ourselves a... Got a little pop at the end there. I think we need just a little release. Okay, so let's get ourselves a little bit of a kick thing happening here. I'm going to start with 4/4, which for me is pretty bore, but I think we can... Yeah, a little drum and bass. Little drum and bass, and there's plenty that can be done to this to kind of mess it up. Let's see, spectral time. Let's just play around with some of these knobs until something maybe clicks. I will say running sine tones through this thing is really helping me sort of better understand kind of what it's doing a little bit. There's so many intertwined things happening here that I'm still not I haven't fully wrapped my mind around this effect. One way to make kind of like a hi-hat or snare type of sound pretty easily. And this is also nice to add just a little bit of like dirt on top of, you know, like sine waves can be pretty clean, pretty kind of boring sometimes. All right, pretty intense there, I'd say. So let's try and maybe we could dial this thing in a little bit. And also, if we put an LFO with a really high rate and just say only turn that on during these high spots. Now let's try that amp on here. It'll usually warm things up. Definitely not the most ideal drum and bass style of beats. You've got these really crazy chirpy sounding cool. And I think if we wanted to try and do something nutty with the EQs, we could, and delay together, we could get like a hi-hat thing going. Not the most common use for the amp, mainly made for guitars, but why not try running some drums through it? Kind of an industrial move, industrial music styles. You know, usually you'll run your drums and just about everything else through some kind of distortion sound. Now let's check out a little bit of pitch modulation, pitch envelope. Got the filter envelope here. I think somewhere hiding out in here is a pitch envelope. Could be wrong. That may just be the sampler. May just be the sampler. I know we have pitch affected by the LFO. Ah, there it is, hiding out. Wouldn't be a sketch exploration without the classic sort of fumbling about, trying to find stuff, seemingly lost. I think we have to add some amount. Cool. We'll get back to that maybe. Yes, let's automate this. Just one of the best things I think that has come out of this sketch exploration thing for me has been those crazy fast automation lane setup hotkeys. I couldn't stress enough how amazing having some kind of hotkey setup for yourself to do macro type stuff, a bunch of keystrokes all at once, how useful that is, honestly. In my daily job of being a sound designer and composing music for games, the auto hotkey app has just been massive time saver, honestly. And if you can convert time into money, and considering that app is free, wow, it has definitely been huge for me to have that. It saddens me that there is no exact version of it for OS X. I know there are other programs that do similar things to that for OS X, but AutoHotkey, you can really dive deep. You can script all kinds of things. I barely even scratched the surface with that app. Set up loops, timer functions, all kinds of crazy stuff. All right, cool. Maybe we could try to explore some probability in there. The sketch version series also been a great excuse for me to try out some of these new weird functions. I do think this at least a drum and bass beat, you typically always have these same notes type firing off a lot. I think maybe we could just get a few more in there. But only happening every so often. see, was it Alt? That lets us pull a range up on this. I can't remember. I believe maybe it's just these tools here. And this just goes to show that you can make whole beats with just one really simple set of effects and a sine wave. Anything is possible. I guess it's been proven that all sounds can be made from just a crazy series of sine waves. Alright, cool. Alright, let's see what can we do with this sampler. We could definitely use any of these crazy samples from our some kind of deep space drum and bass. So cheesy. Let's see about that. Let's just try this looped on for size. And I think a little bit of side chain over here would be pretty cool from the beat. Let's add an EQ so that only the kick drum is firing off this thing. And I think if we put this before our filter delay, it'll sound a bit more, a little less too pumpy. Sometimes you want that crazy pump sound from a sidechain compression, and sometimes you just want it that smooth out a little bit. We could get real trippy and just barely automate the delay lines, which will kind of just create a staggered, messed up sounding, like a sort of off kilter tape motor type of feel, which I kind of like. Can add just that certain level of uncertainty. Now let's get the amp on that. Thank God that thing has a dry wet. And let's get that just fading on every now and then. Like that always. Let's see if we can get even more crazy with. Let's just automate everything on this effect here. Sometimes for me that's a really good way to get to know some of the limits, some of the odds and ends and outs of an effect. I guess we can't automate that. getting crazy right there. I think if we play with this interval, we're going to get some really wild results. I wish I had access to, there's a new unfiltered audio, which one of my favorite companies that makes amazing plugins, like Biome, they have a new effect that just came out. Yeah, this may be too crazy in the end. And it's a granular effect called like silo. I just like my brain is spacing at this point because I've got all this sound coming into it. I wish I could bust that out and play around with that. It looks so much fun. You know, I think I love plugins for the fact that they make things interesting more and more along the way. Can't ever have enough plugins. So probably when I reboot this series, I will, probably spend a lot more time with VSTs and not so much time with just the, I think I've spent more time just using the built-in Ableton stuff just so that everybody out there could, go back and play with these 100 sketches, do whatever you want with them. But once I start using a bunch of weird stuff like a bunch of weird VST plugins, bunch of, contact library stuff, the Ableton built-in packs, and a bunch of weird Max5 stuff that I won't be able to include, commercial stuff. And unfortunately, it's going to mean, all these sketches will be not as accessible. But that's just maybe the price it's going to have to pay for me to actually want to keep going. As much as I love using, just the built-in Ableton stuff, I need more. I want to play with more. I want to constantly be trying out new plugins and doing some of these crazy techniques with those plugins. Thrashing the parameters, doing really irreverent stuff with them, breaking them, crashing Ableton, all the fun things that we've sort of been doing to some degree so far here on this. Fun fact, these sketches were not released immediately after they were recorded. A lot of them were recorded, most all of them, between, I want to say January of 2021 and May of 2021. And it may be 2022 by the time you see this. Who knows? I am not releasing all of these at once or when I'm making them, and I'm making them at much faster speed, just kind of like how they record and make a TV show and then release the episodes, staggered release. I did not want to oversaturate or overkill. But, the winters here can be, in Colorado, very intense and leave you with a lot of time inside. And frankly, I was just so burnt out from doing the off the sky thing. After you put out enough albums and, finishing an album up is so tedious and it can really cause burnout. You just sit there and listen and make these little tweaks, listen and make a bunch of little tweaks. And then, if you do that like 10 times in a row for several years, it takes the joy out of it, which is kind of why I'm also exploring all these weird styles and beats. I never mess with beats usually. So anyway, yeah. I am at least happy that by Sketch 100, I finally dialed in, and it took 100 sketches, oh my gosh, dialed in the vocal mic and limiter compressor thing. Oh my gosh. You'd think an audio person would have that stuff all just tight and figured out and sounding perfect and amazing right from the get-go. I did not spend any time trying to get these sketch videos to be sounding good or professional or on par with any of the really nice YouTubers out there that spend tons of time editing and no. But I guess, you know, when you're doing a series like this that still takes a lot of time. I mean, I've spent over 100 hours obviously on this. I think it's best to try to make it just really fun for yourself and not, you know, drown in the technical crap. I mean, we are doing a lot of technical crap inside Ableton, but just like, I think I put my priorities obviously elsewhere on making fun sounds. But at least for the next time around, if and when, there will be things will be at least dialed in better. Okay, let's get another sampler going. And maybe a little reverb on the end here is always just kind of nice. It helps smooth things out. Kind of helps, you know, set the mood, set the space. Space is the place. So it's good to get that one at least, you know, set up. Probably should just have that in the template. Okay, let's try. Kind of a minor Debbie sounding thing. Timing on this stuff needs to be really worked out. Really want to set the set the one, this to 1-1. Okay, you have to be in notes mode for that to work. And I guess we pitched it somehow, but oh well. Let's just undo. Whoops. Thought we had pitched it. It definitely sounds off from our main. This 8, good even number. A bit anthemic in some ways. You could make this 16 and keep going with the motive. I think, you know, really have to dial in a series of notes really well for them to kind of work for measure, you know, repetitive things can sound really boring otherwise. It's good to have like a longer motive. Really screwing things up here with our spectral time. We're not hearing much coming out of this, and I think that's because we have this stuff set on. And this is kind of like, this responds to the beat. crazy, crazy business. Loop that. And perfection. Yeah, right. All right, let's add. Let's just go ahead and try slowing this down and seeing what we. The DJ is drunk. But to me, it's a little more interesting. You know, it's off the beaten path. This. It's more of a Tropicalia kind of eclectic. Which, as you know, we've explored several times here on the Sketch Exploration series, and I do love some of that kind of stuff. That whole Andrew Peckler or some of that fourth world weirdness. There we go. Some of these, yeah, this particular, oh, hey, I only want to mess with one velocity. Them all a little more even, and I think I want more probability now that I'm hearing this slow down, more probability on the beat. Let's try some more attack. Smooth things out a little bit. Yes, sounds like we just landed in paradise after being tossed at sea or running from pirates or whatever that last drum and bass movement was. Kind of bit of a tense moment in time. Okay, cool. Yes, let's try a bit of tremolo for this. Much calmer. I am much more into chill, calm stuff. I couldn't imagine trying to make an album that was just like really ruckusy, drum and bassy. I think I would probably go mad. Because you gotta listen to it over and over and over and over and over again, and of course... It's probably why a lot of older electronic musicians are just chilling out, going into the ambient thing. Bit of a cop-out, eh? No, but it's just so much more easy on the brain. The world is stressful enough, and we are all sponges, and just walking out the front door is like an onslaught of energies and noise, and... So hell, I think it's kind of nice to be able to just tune all that out, put some nice headphones on, get into a really dark, secluded, quiet room, and just drone out. It's like therapy, I swear. Alright, let's see. Maybe... a little spectral time on the end here. Yes, the Kraken has finally fallen asleep. We need to make this off the bat a little longer so that way we've got more runway automatically for our... I do wish Ableton could just, you could grab a knob, start recording the automation, and it would set the loop length when you let off your mouse button, you know, and that would be it. It would just like record that length for you, unlinked automatically. It's probably a way to do it with Max for Live. Again, if any of you nerds out there happen to be really good with Max for Live and want to help me create a cool tool like that, I will love you forever. There's probably some gold in there for you as well. Private message me. Or I could get off my lazy ass and just dive into the API and try to figure it out myself. I've messed a bit with the API, well, as we have done on this sketch for some things, and you know, it's not super scary. There's just a lot. There's a lot there, of course. Whoops again. I'm gonna just like remove that Explorer window. Keeping it loose. Keeping it real. And keeping it weird as always. Alright, let's get some runway on this. It's trying to crash. I was thinking about it. Not sure why it does that every now and then. I wasn't saving or anything. Oftentimes I notice in the past when I'm saving, because I'm keeping all of these sketch files, this main folder here is all on a thumb drive that is not, I think it's like a USB 2, which surprisingly, USB 2 thumb drives, you can run a lot of channels of audio all at once before it starts to hiccup. So I'm not sure when I save it why we get stutters. Okay, let's get another simpler going on in there. be nice. Kind of just like little creatures off in the distance. And let's select everything and pull the probability down so we get a bit more unpredictability and also some random velocities. Very cool. And of course, you know, it wouldn't be a classic sketchsploration without our cheesy slurp texture in there. The most egregious and overused. Yes, like little creatures and water drops in the distance. It is fun and adventurous to try and make real world sounds with synthesis. Not easy. Without making it sound, of course, like 1950s cheesy sci-fi. Let's see, we have so much to work with here. We have just, wow, that made so many crazy little noise makers. Let's make this one a bit longer. Just every now and then we'll have this static. Just come on unpredictably. There we go. Once every 24.2. Good enough. One thing we haven't messed with in a while is we've got some pretty amazing MIDI patches that we've made. I mean, we could just call these patches. More or less, racks are pretty similar to like a type of patch. You're taking all these components and putting them together. Now let's make sure we've got a really tight sound, and let's... Do we get anything out of this? I think we have to send a note, C4. Yes, very modular sounding. And I'm curious kind of what like a dubby type stab. We don't know what key we're in at this point. No idea. Try that on for size. Not bad little closing piece. Let's add a bit of stereo to that. Let's see what that sounds like. Not sure if it'll fit ultimately. You know, most of the ideas that I do end up getting thrown out. I will say, by the time a song is done, it's a pretty rigorous, you know, I'm really picky. I've just decided somewhere along the line over the years, it's better to just be really picky and really push yourself to work that delete button. Because God knows there's enough garbage already out there. So might as well do everyone a favor, since life is short and people got to spend, you know, so many minutes with your music. Make it worth their while. I know that doesn't mostly work. A lot of people just, you know, the masses probably just want to like throw it on Spotify and like not really sit there and actually listen to it. But I like to make music for both, mostly for those who really just want to sit there like and close their eyes and do like a real deep style of listening. When I'm mastering and finishing my albums, oftentimes I'll find a really comfortable spot on the floor, on a rug, and, you know, close the eyes, turn off the lights, sensory deprivation, and really listen in. And somehow I've been able to memorize sections of that things I hear that I need to fix. It's usually one of the last stages for me. I'll spend, 8 or 9 passes listening through after the label has accepted the album. I've got, all the WAV file exports laid out on the timeline, all the spaces that I need between them, all the starts, the ends fading in and out or whatever, everything is perfect. And then I'll listen through and I'll make tons of notes. I usually will just add a locator, and then the name of the locator is fix, the frequency 60 hertz, too loud here, kind of stuff like that. I'll do that 8 or 9 times on different systems, and I switch it up. It's speakers and then headphones on the next one, and I'll try to do one a week, because otherwise, you get your brain and you just miss a lot of things. But if you give some space between each of these deep listens, and of course then it takes a week to, especially the first 7 or 8 of that 10, 12 final listens, for calling it done and mastered, it takes a week to fix all those things. A lot of times throughout across a whole album, I'll have several hundred of these, and having to go back and I usually have one version of Ableton open with the project with all the notes in it, and then I'll have another iteration of Ableton open with the song loaded in, and then I can just alt tab and jump back and forth between each one. It's quite a process, but it takes a lot of deep listens. And finally, those last 3 or 4 passes, it's lying on the floor, the lights are out. It's super intimate moments, diving deep into the sounds and just trying to have a real intense feel of does this feel 100% right? And each time I'll usually hear different things. And then finally, by the end of that, I've come to some form of acceptance. Whatever is in there, whether it's perfect or not, doesn't matter. It's, I feel like I after you struggle with a mix so much, you just have to sort of let it go and accept the imperfections as part of the perfection of it, I guess. And sometimes it's easy said than done, not hard, not easy. I mean, to let it go. But hey, you know, when you want to put an album out, you kind of just have to come to a point of peace with it. And it can take a lot of struggle, like I said. Like for me, after the label's accepted and I really want to polish and refine it, it's so many passes with so many notes in each pass. It is tedious, and it is definitely Burnout City. But in the end, I feel like, you know, the mix is perfect. Everything feels great. It can go out, be put out into the world, and I never look back after that. I never go back and listen to it. If somebody tries to play something of mine and I'm in the room, no way. I'll either leave the room or ask them to stop playing it. I just do not like listening to, you know, because I don't know how many times I've actually heard things where I was like, oh, I should have done that differently. Or, you know, you have these like silly critical thoughts after, you know, we are our own worst critics, us artists. It is a... well, dare I say, this might be the most anthemic of all the ones. Typically, you know, this stuff is pretty ambient, pretty like melodically boring, or not super... Not that this is that interesting either. Yes, it sounds like the piece of music to be the last song on the album, so to speak. And of course we could just, you know, take everything up to 420. Get that beat going again, you know, bring the party back, bring the party back. But I like it slow. I like a slow party, a slow motion life. Everything is better in slow motion, as Dave Chappelle said. Same goes for music. All right. Bringing in some weird. But anyway, yes, I do recommend trying to listen to music with the lights out. Find the most comfortable spot to lay there. Try not to do it when you're dead tired, because obviously you'll just fall asleep. Get some in-ear buds or some super comfortable headphones that, you know, really kind of isolate a lot of the outside sounds. Try to create a sensory deprivation situation for yourself. Find an album with a lot of interesting details. You know, don't put it on too loud, and just try to see if you can go into the layers, into the sounds, you know, images, whatever that your mind may produce. Like, try to go into those spaces. I do believe that deep listening can be a meditation and can be very somewhat spiritual, and I do feel like as sonic freaks, music lovers, aural weirdos, we should try every now and then to really like just zoom in mentally into the sounds. And the best way I've found to do that anyway is sensory deprivation, or just eliminate all the distractions you can. Not that easy, especially if you've got a family, or, you know, but if you can find a good hour to like spend during the week to dive deep with one of your favorite albums, highly recommend it. To me, it's kind of addicting. Sometimes almost hard to get things done when it's like you could just lay there and, you know, breathe slowly and really just let the sounds sort of wash over you. Wouldn't be a sketchsploration without me just blabbing on about just endless amounts of nonsense. But hey, you know, I'm more doing this for myself, to get these ideas out so I can further solidify them for myself. and help keep myself motivated to do some of these techniques more often. Hell, if we're not learning constantly, we're not living, you know? And if we're not making mistakes, we're definitely not learning, so there's some kind of connection to it all. Getting churchy up in here. I should throw an organ in there, you know, just for the hell of it. All right. Well, I think that it is just about good to go. It's been a great series, I must say. Feeling a bit somber, like this piece of music. This cheesy piece of tropical church music. Let's just, yeah, you just can't, you know, ever stop tweaking. Don't ever stop tweaking on your sketches. There's no real advice in that. Cool. I think bringing this up to -10 kind of adds a bit more weirdness into the mix. And of course, we have some plugin that has decided to die on us. And I'm not sure where it's happening, but you can sort of see in here, there is a little something something, and it looks like we're not getting past the hybrid reverb. I'm almost afraid of what will happen. Yes, and certainly that is some kind of like, yeah, you can see it's like a crazy bass. So if we add a high pass filter, we're gonna just get rid of that. I'm not sure where it's happening, but somebody in here just shit the bed. And we now have no sounds. Yay! It is a classic sketchsploration moment. All right, well, I'm going to pause it, get this thing fixed, and then when I come back, I'm just going to let it play out, and then we're going to say goodbye for now.